So I suppose we should start with the workspace, and this is it, my garret, attic, whatever you want to call it, place where I go to work, and it's up in the attic of my house. And as you can see, the workspace is probably a bit different to that of composers in even the recent past, in that it's full of electronics. And if we look down here, we can see the entrails of all of that stuff up on the desk, which amounts to an iMac computer, MIDI keyboard, I think I can count 4 external hard drives, a couple of sets of headphones, blank CDs, blank DVDs, mini DVs, and many other electronic things. And this is the way I work. This is the environment that I work in generally. So maybe it might be interesting to show you how these things work for me in my composing. So in general, the way I write is I use a program called Digital Performer, which is this here, and it's what's called a sequencer program. It's known as a sequencer program, although it also can work very well with audio, but I don't usually use it for that. For me, it's like having a recording studio at my fingertips. Now, admittedly, the instruments in that recording studio are pretty thin sounding and electronic, and you have to kind of fill in things yourself in terms of your imagination in order to, imagine that the horrible string sound that you're hearing on this computer will sound much better, hopefully, when the performer plays it. But for me, it works very well in the sense that I can get a very quick image of how the music is going to sound in real time by playing it into this program and then listening to it back. This is one I prepared earlier. This is a piece for violin and piano, and if I go in anywhere in this, I can immediately get a feel of how that might sound. And I can see visually where I am. These are the bar numbers on the top and all of that stuff, and I can make it, go into at any point of the piece. As you can hear, the sounds are not the nicest ones you'll ever hear, but they are probably accurate in the sense of how they will sound in terms of rhythm and duration, and also how the instruments fit together. So it's a very useful tool, especially for someone like me who's a really terrible piano player. So basically the way I work with it is it's very simple, is that it's like, as I said, it's like having a recording studio. So if I can record onto a track, maybe I'll try that. So kind of pizzicato sound there, and I might play it in time. Just play something in. I'll just improvise something here. And then I can hear that track immediately back. For me, I like to compose very much, as much in real time as I can. I think some of that has got to do with the fact that I'm a jazz musician and we tend to play all our stuff in real time, on the spot, so to speak. Now in composition it is different, but I do like to try and retain that kind of flexibility and also kind of speed of thought. So what I do is I listen to something like that, and when I'm listening to that, I'll be hearing something that might work with that, some kind of accompaniment or some kind of answer to that that might be appropriate for it. So, for example, I'll just improvise something else in here, a different sound of some kind of piano sound. So, I'll do that again. And if I play that back, then I can hear the result of that. And of course I have all kinds of editing possibilities as well, in the sense that I did make one rather obvious mistake there, and that I hit two notes at the same time. You can hear them here. Those two notes there. Kind of ugly. So I can, well, possibly ugly, but let's say I consider them ugly for the moment, so I get rid of one, and now that's gone. So I can, that's the way I work. I tend to, in general, I mean there are exceptions, but I will have an idea and I will hear the idea, I will play it into the sequencer and I will listen to it back, and then I will hear hopefully something that goes with that, or something that goes after that, or possibly something that comes before it. So in general it works out, I will tend to have one idea or a couple of simple ideas and work outwards from that. I tend not to have huge amounts of written material when I'm working in compositional mode. I tend to come to the notation afterwards, and in general, in this case, this program can export the notes into a wonderful notation program called Finale, which is this, and Finales will very kindly write this out for me. Now it doesn't come out looking like this with all of the articulations and all of that. It comes out in much more basic form, and then what I do is I print out that rough form and I then put in the articulations, the necessary ones, the slurs, the dynamic markings and all of that, and any corrections I feel I need to make by hand, well not by hand, but into the computer and back onto this, and then at the end I will have a complete score written out in a very nice handwriting, much better than my own, I have to say. So for this piece, I think what I was thinking of when I was thinking about what to write in terms of how to start the piece, it's always the hardest part for me anyway, is how to start. And once I get started, I'm usually okay. So I didn't really have a lot of ideas for how to start. The piece, of course, is for electric guitar and symphony orchestra, so it's Concerto for electric guitar. And I tend to write quite rhythmic music in general anyway, and in the case I know the soloist Rick Peckham very well, and we've worked together in a lot of jazz settings. And he's a great jazz guitar player, and he has a great sense of rhythm, so I will definitely be doing stuff that will be very rhythmic in this piece. So when I thought about what to do, I realized there's a great saying that's, people say, Stravinsky said that, you know, good composers borrow, great composers steal. I'm not sure if it was him who said that, but it's a very funny, but there's an element of truth in it. And so I thought I might steal something, and if you steal, you should steal from the best, but instead of stealing from the best, I decided to steal from myself. So I recorded a piece of music with a very good contemporary jazz group that I play with called Métier. We recorded in last October. Went into the studio and just completely improvised 2.5 hours of music in different sections. And one of the pieces starts off with a bass figure, which I'm a bass player, so I improvised. It's me playing on this, and I liked that figure. It was just on the spot improvisation, but I decided that this would be a great opening for the piece. So this is it. So that's the opening, and the plan is that I will transcribe that bass line and figure out what it is and where it goes harmonically and all of those things, and see what kind of structural things I can find within that. And the plan then is to go on from there and build at the very least the first movement from that, and maybe even more. So that's the plan anyway, I guess. We'll see.